The emergency klaxon had been broken for 8 years, so when the crash came, it arrived in near silence, save for a low, disgruntled beep from the outpost coffee machine, which had somehow taken offense at the sudden atmospheric shift. The Karen outpost, wedged like a rusty bolt into the barren crust of Gliese 581G's moon, was a backwater station nobody cared about anymore. Its walls peeled, its lights flickered like they were on the brink of an existential crisis, and its population was just low enough for everyone to know each other's bowel schedules. So when the station's outer perimeter sensor, an antique unit nicknamed Old Gassy, blinked crimson for the first time in decades, no one noticed, except Eli. Eli had been elbows deep in a malfunctioning food synth, trying to explain to a semi-sentient AI why banana peanut butter spaghetti was not an appropriate Tuesday meal. He was also losing that argument, so when Old Gassy wheezed its last beep and the nearby crater lit up with the pale blue flash of a crash landing, Eli's first thought was, finally something that isn't aggressively beige. He suited up with a shrug and a sarcastic promise to return if he didn't get disintegrated by anything shinier than the vending machine, and trudged through the moon's thin atmosphere. The crater steamed like a boiling kettle, and nestled in the center was a ship, or something pretending to be one. It shimmered with a strange light, sleek and organic, like a whale carved from chrome and moonlight. And lying just beside it, half buried in dust, was her. She looked mostly human. Mostly. Her skin had the faintest iridescent sheen, like she was made of pearl and storm clouds. Her ears were long, pointed upward slightly like elegant antennae, and her chest barely moved beneath a tangle of torn silver fabric. Eli approached, not with military protocol or scientific inquiry, but with the same instinct that made him rescue stray cats from engine rooms. He knelt beside her, pressed 2 fingers to her neck. A flutter. Weak, but there. Back at the outpost, chaos broke out in the form of 4 panicked people and 1 panicked coffee machine. The medic, Commander Riss, glanced at the alien girl once and said, "She won't last the night," then walked away like someone had just told her the soup was too spicy. Eli stayed. He sat by her side long after the others gave up interest. He found a blanket that didn't smell too much like gym socks and wrapped it around her. He told her his name. He told her about Earth, about the smell of fresh rain, and what a dog was. He told her his favorite joke about a photon checking into a hotel. "No bags, I'm traveling light." And when she didn't laugh, he told it again, just in case she was slow on the uptake. He called her Kyra because the sound fit her like it belonged, because no one else had bothered to name her. That night, while the outpost lights flickered their usual Morse code of doom and the stars blinked above like curious watchers, Eli sat beside the alien girl who wasn't supposed to survive. He held her 3-fingered hand in his and whispered promises as though words could knit broken biology back together. And far beneath her quiet skin, something sparked. A pulse, a shift in the energy threads wound deep inside her. The station might have written her off, but Eli didn't let go, and that somehow was enough to begin. Eli didn't really mean to steal the biogel. He meant to borrow it, possibly indefinitely, which in his mind wasn't theft so much as a humanitarian act with a slightly shady aftertaste. The medical bay, as usual, was empty except for the snoring bulk of Medbot 3A, a robot whose primary skills included ignoring protocol and snoring like a congested hippopotamus. With stealth honed from years of sneaking extra dessert cubes, Eli slipped inside, yanked open a drawer marked highly hazardous and also very expensive, and filled a bag with glowing blue packs of nutrient gel. He left a note that read, "For science and friendship. E." Back in the disused maintenance alcove that had become Kara's unofficial room, official rooms required paperwork, and Eli believed paperwork was a form of passive-aggressive war. He gently fed the gel into her system via a makeshift delivery tube fashioned from a smoothie straw and a piece of old tubing labeled "Warning for acid use only." He figured that label was outdated or hopeful. Kyra's chest moved more now, faintly but steady. Her ears twitched once. A single flick like a signal from a distant radio tower. Eli's heart did a weird little dance, halfway between hope and an arrhythmia. He talked to her constantly, When words ran out, he made them up. So fun fact, Earth squirrels are basically tree-dwelling chaos gremlins. I saw one steal a sandwich from a general once. Full camo and everything. The sandwich and the squirrel. Kara didn't laugh. Yet. But Eli swore her mouth shifted slightly, like she might one day remember how. Word began to spread in the station. Not that she was improving, no one cared about that, but that Eli had officially lost it. Jorgen from engineering started a betting pool. How long before Eli proposes to his space girlfriend? The leading answer was Tuesday. Someone stuck googly eyes on the side of Kyra's oxygen monitor. Eli named them Gerald and Tina and gave them a tragic love story involving forbidden voltage and a shared wall socket. Despite the jokes and the indifference, something was changing. The air around Kyra shimmered faintly now like heat haze. Plants in nearby hydroponics began growing faster, unsettlingly fast. One particularly zealous tomato vine attempted to strangle the mop bot. Then came the night the station shook. It was subtle, like a low-frequency growl, the kind you feel in your bones before your ears catch on. Lights dimmed. The air recycler hiccuped. A circuit panel somewhere screamed like a dying banshee and died with a fizzle. Medbot 3A sat upright in its charging cradle and declared, "I feel uneasy," before promptly shorting out and toppling face first into a shelf of tongue depressors. Eli rushed to Kyra's side. She was glowing again, that strange iridescence pulsing gently in time, with a rhythm not quite mechanical, not quite organic. Her fingers twitched. This time it wasn't random. It was a slow, deliberate movement. 3 fingers curling, relaxing, then curling again. Her eyes opened, not all the way, just a sliver, enough to reveal irises that shimmered like nebulae. Eli froze mid-joke about robotic hemorrhoids. She didn't speak. Her throat clicked once, twice. Then finally her lips parted. Her voice was static in stars. "You... not gone." Eli blinked. "Well, yeah, I'm the clingy type." She closed her eyes again, but her hand, so cold before, squeezed his just slightly. Eli sat back, the hum of the station like a heartbeat underfoot. His own heart, meanwhile, was doing gymnastics he was not trained for. He whispered, "Welcome back, Kyra." Gerald's googly eye promptly fell off the monitor and bounced into Eli's coffee, which, as omens go, he decided to interpret as a good one. The first time Kyra sat up, it was not elegant. There were no slow, graceful movements, no orchestral hums in the background. It was more of a flop, a gravity-disrespected tumble that ended with her nose pressed against Eli's shoulder and her long ears poking him in the eye. "Oh, well, welcome to upright life," he muttered, blinking away a tear. "Your ear just filed a restraining order against my retina." Kyra blinked slowly, pupils dilating and contracting, like starlight being sucked into a wormhole. Her movements were stiff like a marionette operated by a hungover puppeteer. But her eyes were aware now. She scanned the room, rusted wall panels, a flickering emergency lamp, a pile of Eli's shirts that he insisted were clean, but smelled like optimism and expired chili packets. "You are Eli," she said, her voice rough, a low whisper wrapped in static. Her language was strange, stitched together from what she'd picked up of his words and her own memories, but the meaning was clear. Eli grinned, part nerves, part genuine joy. "And you're Kyra, unless that crash gave you amnesia and a new personality, in which case, hi, I'm Eli again." She tilted her head. "Your energy was with me, in dark." "Yeah, that was me." He scratched the back of his neck. "Hope you didn't mind the singing. I may have attempted a lullaby. Twice." Kyra shuddered. "You sang?" "Okay, let's not dwell on that," he muttered. Her recovery, though miraculous, wasn't smooth. Every hour brought strange side effects. Lights flickered when she walked past them. The station's AI stuttered when Kara entered a room, once announcing, "Welcome, Eli. Also welcome, syntax error, beautiful anomaly." The medical officer finally showed up, more out of obligation than curiosity. Dr. Renna, A woman whose bedside manner had been replaced with a user manual in 2194, scanned Kyra with a scanner that beeped in a tone suspiciously close to panic. "She's stabilizing," Rena muttered, frowning at the readings. "Her neural rhythms are not local." Eli raised a brow. "Like, not Karen Outpost local? Like, not this galaxy local," Rena clarified, before handing him a data chip and disappearing without another word. Kyra's strength grew each day. She moved more fluidly, her long fingers brushing against panels and making the metal beneath them sing faintly. She listened to Eli's ramblings with a growing repertoire of expressions: curiosity, confusion, and once, what might have been pity when he explained what a pineapple pizza was. Still, not everyone was thrilled. Jorgen from engineering cornered Eli during a lunch break and jabbed a spoon in his face. "That alien girl's messing with our systems. Did you know the water recycler tried to baptize my pants?" Eli shrugged. "Maybe it thought they needed cleansing." "Listen, if she shorts out my coffee machine, I swear on all the beans in the quadrant." But before Jorgen could finish the threat, the station lights dimmed. The hum of the generators deepened. Kyra, in the distance, stood still in the hallway, her eyes closed, her hands hovering just above the wall. The metal seemed to breathe under her touch. And then, all at once, it stopped. Power returned, light stabilized. The air held a crispness it hadn't known in years. Kyra turned to Eli, her voice now clearer, steadier. "The structure, sick. I help, you fix to the station?" She nodded. "It sang bad songs, I sang better." Eli chuckled. "You rewired it with space poetry." Kyra tilted her head. "Is that not protocol?" No, that's definitely how we do things here," he replied, deadpan. "First we sing to the toaster, then we propose to the microwave." She considered this. "Microwave is the leader?" Eli nearly fell over laughing. He didn't realize until much later that others had noticed Kara's influence too, that the station had eyes in places even he hadn't suspected. And somewhere, deep in the comm towers, a transmission light flicked green. A signal was sent. Someone now knew she had woken up. The outpost cafeteria was not built for romance. It wasn't built for much, really, just designed by someone with a vendetta against comfort and an obsession with metal benches that doubled as frostbite simulators. But Eli insisted that Kyra experience the complete cultural majesty of a human lunch hour. She stared at the beige-gray protein slab on her tray. It wobbled slightly. It hissed. "It is food?" she asked politely, tilting her head. "That's the rumor," Eli replied. "Technically, it's called nutrient brick number 17B. The B stands for barely edible." Kyra picked up a utensil with 2 fingers and poked the slab. It retaliated by oozing slightly to the left. "I think it's trying to escape," she observed. "Don't worry, that's normal. If it doesn't fight back, it's expired." She smiled, an uncertain, crooked thing still learning how to be a smile, and took a bite. She chewed once, then wordlessly slid the rest of her tray toward Eli. "Sharing is a beautiful tradition on Earth," he said gravely, and pushed his own tray toward her in return. "No, thank you," she said with impressive finality. As her speech grew stronger, so did her questions. "What is love?" she asked one evening, while adjusting a wireframe model of the station with her mind. Eli choked on his drink. "You're going to need to narrow that down. Love like romantic? Or love like how I feel about oxygen and clean socks?" She blinked. "Romantic. Connection. You hold hands, touch lips, initiate snuggling protocols?" He coughed. "That's shockingly accurate." She nodded, satisfied, then returned to her model, reshaping the gravity vents like clay. "Humans are complex, messy, loud, but not empty." "You're getting dangerously close to flattery," Eli said. "I might have to blush." But the station wasn't all jokes and shared protein horrors. Kyra's abilities were growing, and not just her gift for navigating human sarcasm. She could interface with the outpost systems through touch. Her fingers brushed a broken wall panel, and suddenly the heating units kicked into overdrive. The stale air in unused corridors shifted to something fresh, something green. Hydroponic plants bloomed overnight, curling toward her like curious children. Of course, this didn't go unnoticed. Commander Riss summoned them both to her office, a cramped cube decorated with broken holo displays and a stress ball shaped like a black hole. "You're interfering with system protocols," Riss said, folding her arms. "The last time this station functioned at 80% efficiency, we thought it was a glitch." Kyra sat quietly, ears flicking. "System was sick. I harmonized its flow." "She healed the place with brain waves and weird humming," Eli added helpfully. "Also, I'm pretty sure the vents are flirting with her now." Riss massaged her temples. "This isn't a joke, Eli. She's affecting the station's bioenergy field. That's not something we even knew it had until last week. She's not safe here. Not for us, and possibly not for herself." Kyra's eyes narrowed slightly. "I am not weapon." "No," Riss said softly, "but someone's going to want you, like you are one." Later that night, Eli couldn't sleep. He found Kyra in the observation bay, seated with her knees drawn up, gazing at the stars. "They see me now," she said. "Others, beyond here." He sat beside her. "You mean someone out there knows you're awake?" She nodded. "I was seed, dormant, meant to observe, but your voice changed me, made me loud." Eli tried to keep his voice light. "Well, yeah, I am a terrible whisperer." She smiled faintly, but her eyes lingered on the stars, deep and ancient. "The signal is moving," she said. "It carries hunger." Eli looked at her, at the strange shimmer of her skin, at the soft curl of her long ears catching the light. He reached out and took her hand. "Then let it come," he said. "We'll deal with it. Together." Kyra squeezed his fingers. Outside, a pulse of light blinked faintly in the void. A ship, maybe more. Far off, but getting closer. The ship that arrived wasn't listed in any galactic registry. It didn't hail, didn't respond. It simply appeared. 1 second there was empty space beyond the perimeter sensors, and the next a vessel hung there like a silent thought someone forgot to finish. Sleek black, curved like a predator's claw, it shimmered against the stars in unnatural ways. Angles folding where angles shouldn't exist. "Yup," Eli said, squinting through the cracked observation lens. "That definitely screams friendly galactic ice cream delivery to me." Kyra stood beside him, her ears angled forward, alert. A faint hum pulsed under her skin. "They are not ice cream." "Are you sure?" "Because it's never the ice cream ships that cause trouble. It's always the guys with armor and bad taste in lighting." She didn't smile this time, just watched, still, focused. The outpost scrambled. Commander Riss barked commands. Half the staff pretended to know how to use emergency systems they hadn't touched in years, and Medbot 3A attempted to barricade the infirmary with tongue depressors and sheer optimism. "Why now?" Riss muttered as the communications room flickered under strange energy surges. "They're reading our shields like open code," Eli answered without turning from the viewport. "Because she's not sleeping anymore, and maybe someone out there liked her better silent." When the docking clamps creaked, a sound like metal holding its breath, the outpost fell quiet. No alarms blared, because whatever tech was on that ship, it whispered through systems, disabling with elegance instead of brute force. They sent 3. That was all it took. Tall, faceless, wrapped in sleek black exosuits with flowing cloaks of matter that didn't reflect light, the beings stepped into the station like they'd already rehearsed it. Their movements were graceful and wrong, like they weren't designed for gravity, but made a polite attempt to participate. Kyra stood in the hallway waiting. She didn't flinch. One of the beings raised a hand, and the lights around them dimmed. Its voice came not from a mouth, there was none, but from all directions at once. "Return," it said. Kyra's voice was steady. "I am not yours." "You were sent," the being replied. "Observe, integrate, return. We seeded you to collect harmony, not to drown in noise." Eli stepped forward before he could stop himself. "Well, too bad. She's staying. So if you could just teleport yourselves into a sun, that'd be stellar." The second being tilted its head. "You are interference." "Aw, thanks." I try. Kyra lifted her hand. The air between them shimmered. Energy flared. Soft, melodic, not sharp. Her gift was not one of force, but of resonance. She didn't fight with fire. She unstrung the discord in their steps. The first being's cloak rippled. "You are changed. I was seed," she said. "Now I am root, grounded." With a twist of her fingers, the walls around them responded, not crumbling, but shifting. The outpost welcomed her now, panels sealed, lights refocused. The intruders stepped back, not in fear but recalculation. They retreated without warning, just turned and walked back into the shadows of the docking bay, as though Kyra's defiance had completed a checklist. As they vanished into their ship, a final pulse surged through the floor, a data spike, a message, a warning. Kyra staggered. Eli caught her. "They will return," she said, voice shaking. "Not to speak, to erase. They try to erase you. They're going to find out what a janitor with anger issues can do," Eli muttered. She looked up at him, weakly smiling. "You are chaos in skin. And you're the only one who finds that charming," he replied. Outside, the dark ship blinked out of existence. But the ripple it left behind lingered, an echo in space, a beacon of attention. Far away, others had heard, and now they were listening. The outpost never truly slept, but after the visitors left, it fell into a kind of hush. Not the peaceful kind, more like the nervous silence before a test explosion. The stars above didn't blink. The shadows in the corridors felt a little longer, and even the coffee machine stopped making passive-aggressive noises, as though it too sensed the universe holding its breath. Kyra hadn't spoken in hours. Not really. She'd said things, short words, careful phrases, but the musical cadence of her voice had dimmed, like a song missing its melody. She sat now in the hydroponics bay, knees drawn to her chest, glowing softly in the dim green light of aggressive kale vines. Eli leaned on the doorframe, holding a mug of synth cocoa and the last 2 marshmallows on the station. "Emergency rations," he said, "for spirits and sugar levels. You look like you need both." She glanced over, not answering. Her long ears drooped slightly. The plants around her still leaned in subtly, like she was gravity in disguise. He set the mug beside her and sat cross-legged on the floor. "You okay?" he asked gently. "I am not breaking," she said, "but I am bending in places I did not know could bend." "Well," Eli replied, "that's the first step to yoga." She blinked slowly. "Yoga is the ancient earth ritual involving bendy suffering?" "More or less." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the air filtration system hum, and a single kale leaf groaned dramatically as it unfurled. Then she said, "They were not the worst of what is coming." Eli sipped his cocoa. "Ah, great. Love a sequel." "They were scouts," Kyra whispered. "But not only that. They updated something, a signal, a trace." "You mean like a cosmic ping?" "Yes, I am now. On a path. A line they can follow. And more will come." Eli rubbed his forehead. "Okay, well, we've got 2 plasma rifles, a medbot with confidence issues, and half a dozen hydroponic tomatoes I'm fairly sure are sentient. We're fine." Kara finally smiled. Barely, but it was there. "You always make light in the dark." "It's a gift," he said, "along with my exceptional dance moves and ability to fix toilets under pressure." Her smile faded as her hand drifted over the soil. "I am changing again. Inside. Faster. I can feel my neural flow spiraling upward. Like a seed cracking open under too much sun." "Is that bad?" "It is. Unknown." He looked at her closely. Her glow had intensified, not bright, but layered, pulsing in rhythmic harmonics, as though her body was becoming an instrument for something deeper. A message? A defense? Or something entirely new? Later that night, Kyra collapsed. One moment, she was walking toward the observation bay. The next, she dropped without sound. Eli caught her just before her head struck the floor. Her skin burned under his touch, not with fever, but with pure energy. He dragged her to the medbay, where Medbot 3A promptly overloaded its diagnostic matrix and began singing nursery rhymes in reverse. Commander Riss arrived minutes later, holding a weapon she'd clearly just dug out of a drawer labeled "In Case of Alien Gods." "She's destabilizing," Riss snapped. She's tearing through the station's fields." Systems are spiking. Look at this. She shoved a tablet into Eli's hand. It showed fluctuating graphs, power surges, subspace ripple events. Kyra's body was resonating across multiple frequencies at once. She's becoming a beacon, Riss said, whether she wants to or not. She's Kyra, Eli said. She's not a weapon, not a threat. She's a person. Riss met his eyes, and she might tear a hole through reality to prove it. He turned back to Kyra, who stirred now, eyes fluttering open. Those endless nebula eyes brighter than ever. Her voice was faint. I dreamed of light and of you. Always you. Eli held her hand. I'm here. Then I will not break, she whispered. But I must burn first. And outside, deep in the folds of uncharted space, another ship turned. Faster this time. Closer. It was no longer just listening. It was coming. The ship arrived without preamble. No blaring sensors. No time to sound alarms. One heartbeat, the sky above Karen Outpost was a dome of silent stars. The next, it was split in two by a vessel so vast it seemed less like a ship and more like a mobile continent. Black, silent, gliding toward the moon's crust on engines that bent light itself. No one spoke in the control bay. The crew stared at the readings, gravitational ripples, electromagnetic waves that made compasses spin like drunk ballerinas, and a signal that pulsed in Kyra's same frequency, only far louder. She's calling them, Commander Riss whispered. Or they're calling her. Eli didn't answer. He was already moving, down the corridor, past the trembling walls, into the quiet chamber where Kyra floated inches above her cot, wrapped in strands of light that shimmered and blinked like slow fireflies. Her transformation was nearly complete. Where once she had looked almost human, long ears and all, now she looked like something made from stardust and dream logic. Her veins glowed. Her voice, when she spoke, vibrated through the metal of the floor. I feel them, she said. They want to take what I have become, reclaim it. You're not theirs, Eli said. I was born of them, she murmured, but not shaped by them. You shaped me. Eli laughed softly. Great. So if this goes badly, I get blamed for interstellar identity crises? Her smile was radiant. It would be worth it. The ship hovered above, casting a shadow that stretched across the moon's horizon. No weapons fired, no words came. Just pressure, waiting, demanding. And Kyra rose to meet it. They climbed together to the uppermost platform of the outpost, a landing pad that hadn't been used in years. Kyra walked without effort, her feet barely touching the ground. Energy pulsed around her in golden arcs. The sky tore open. From the belly of the Leviathan ship descended a single figure, tall, robed, its face obscured by a veil of moving stars. It spoke in a language of vibration, deep and cold. Return the core, it is not yours. Kyra stepped forward. I was a vessel. You seeded me to collect light, but you never meant for me to feel it. You are incomplete. You are unstable. You will destroy what you touch. No, she said. I have already created. I have already loved. Eli raised a hand. Also, just for the record, that's a pretty rude tone for someone who shows up uninvited. Kyra reached out, not toward the figure, but toward Eli. Her hand found his. You said I was atmosphere, she whispered, but you were gravity. You kept me here. Then she turned back to the figure in the sky. I am not returning. I am not your silence anymore. I am sound. And she sang. The note wasn't music, not exactly. It was pure frequency, layered with light, with all the laughter she'd learned from Eli, the stories he'd told, the warmth of holding hands and sharing marshmallows and naming coffee machines after dead philosophers. The figure shrank away from the sound. The massive ship above trembled. Cracks opened in its hull, not physical, but conceptual. It could not hold her. With a final pulse of radiant light, Kyra rose into the air. Her voice built higher, the note deepening into something timeless. Then, quiet. A wave of warmth spread across the outpost. The light dimmed. The massive ship vanished, pulled back through its own fold in reality, like a hand recoiling from flame. Eli stood alone, For one long, unbearable moment, he thought she was gone. Then, a breath. Behind him. Kara stood there, human again, more human than before. The glow still pulsed faintly under her skin, but her feet touched the ground now. Her hair stirred in the artificial breeze. Her long ears twitched. "You stayed," she said. "Always," Eli replied. They embraced beneath a sky no longer broken. Weeks passed. The outpost changed. The hydroponic bay bloomed like a jungle. The systems ran smoother than they ever had. The AI stopped singing in Latin at random. Kara helped build communication channels, new ones, interspecies frequencies, using emotion as data. They didn't go back to Earth, or to Kyra's creators. They stayed, together. And every night, Eli would tell her a story, sometimes true, sometimes ridiculous. And every night, Kara would smile and hum a note that kept the stars listening.